Welcome to Mindset Mondays, the bite-sized podcast designed to build a happier, healthier headspace. Think of it as a learning snack for your morning commute to set your week up right. I'm Mark Holloway, and today we're talking about something that sits at the core of human motivation: purpose. Why do some people seem incredibly resilient in the face of hardship? Why do some individuals wake up with energy and direction while others feel stuck or lost? Very often, the difference is purpose. Having a clear sense of purpose gives your life direction. It turns effort into meaning, struggle into growth, and ordinary days into steps towards something bigger. In today's episode, we'll explore what purpose actually is, why science suggests it's critical for well-being, historical and religious insights on purpose, and most importantly, how you can start finding your own. So what is purpose? Purpose isn't about having a grand mission to change the world. It's much simpler than that. Purpose is a reason to get out of bed in the morning that feels meaningful beyond immediate comfort or pleasure. It's the sense that your actions contribute to something that matters. Sometimes that's raising a family, helping others, building something meaningful, learning and growing, serving a community or cause. Purpose is not about constant happiness. In fact, purpose often involves difficulty, but it's difficulty that feels worthwhile. Research consistently shows that people with a strong sense of purpose experience better mental and physical health. A long-term study published in Psychological Science followed adults across multiple decades and found that individuals with a strong sense of purpose lived longer and had significantly lower risk of mortality. Another study from Rush University Medical Center found that people with a higher sense of purpose were less likely to develop Alzheimer's disease. Purpose doesn't just improve motivation, it appears to influence brain health, stress resilience, and longevity. Why? Because purpose organizes your behavior. When you know why you're doing something, you tolerate the how much more easily. One of the most powerful insights about purpose comes from the Austrian psychiatrist Viktor Frankl. Frankl survived Nazi concentration camps during World War II. In the camps, prisoners experienced unimaginable suffering. Frankl observed something remarkable. Those who had a reason to live, a loved one, unfinished work, or a sense of duty, were more likely to endure. After the war, Frankl wrote the book Man's Search for Meaning. In it, he wrote one of the most famous lines in psychology: "Those who have a why to live can bear almost any how." Frankl believed the primary human drive isn't pleasure or power, it's meaning. And meaning comes from purpose. The idea that humans are meant to live with purpose appears across nearly every major religion. In Christianity, purpose is often framed as loving and serving others, reflecting the idea that life is about stewardship and compassion. In Buddhism, purpose is not about ego or status, but about reducing suffering, both your own and others. In Islam, purpose is expressed through the concept of submission to God and living a life of integrity, charity, and service. Across traditions, one theme appears again and again. A meaningful life is rarely about yourself alone. Purpose usually involves contribution, helping, serving, creating, giving. The modern purpose problem. Despite living in the most technologically advanced period in history, many people today feel a lack of direction. Psychologists sometimes call this the meaning crisis. We have more freedom than ever before, but freedom without direction can feel overwhelming. Previous generations often inherited purpose through community, religion, family roles, shared cultural experiences. Today, we must construct our own purpose. And while that can feel difficult, it's also incredibly empowering, because it means your purpose doesn't have to look like anyone else's. A powerful example comes from Florence Nightingale. During the Crimean War, soldiers were dying not just from injuries, but from poor sanitation in hospitals. Nightingale believed deeply that it was her duty to improve healthcare. She worked relentlessly to reform hospital conditions, introduced hygiene practices, and improve patient care. Her sense of purpose drove her through exhausting conditions and resistance from the medical establishment. Today, She's remembered as the founder of modern nursing. Her purpose didn't just shape her life, it improved millions of others. One of the biggest myths about purpose is that you're supposed to discover it like a hidden treasure. As if one day lightning strikes and suddenly you know exactly what you're meant to be doing. In reality, purpose is usually built gradually through action. You try things, you notice what feels meaningful, you pay attention to what energizes you and what drains you. Purpose grows from engagement with life, not endless thinking about it. If you're searching for purpose, psychologists suggest looking at 3 areas. 1. What interests you? What topics, activities, or problems naturally pull your attention? Curiosity is often the first breadcrumb towards purpose. 2. What helps others? Purpose often emerges where your interests meet someone else's need. Helping others gives your actions meaning beyond yourself. 3. What challenges you? Purpose rarely lives in your comfort zone. It often lies in work that stretches you, physically, intellectually, or emotionally. Here's an important mindset shift. You don't need one perfect life purpose. You can have multiple purposes across different areas of life. For example, your purpose might be to raise your children well, to support your community, to grow as a person, to build something meaningful through your work. Purpose isn't a single destination, it's a direction. So instead of asking, "What is my life purpose?" ask a simpler question. What feels meaningful enough that I'm willing to work at it consistently? That question is much easier to answer, and it gets you moving. Here's a practical exercise you can try this week. Ask yourself 3 questions. 1. What problems in the world bother me enough that I want to help solve them? 2. What activities make time disappear when I'm doing them? And 3. Who do I feel most motivated to help or support? Where those answers overlap, you'll often find clues toward purpose. When life becomes difficult, and it inevitably will, purpose acts as an anchor. It reminds you why the struggle matters. Athletes push through brutal training because they're chasing a goal. Parents sacrifice sleep because they care deeply about their children. Entrepreneurs endure uncertainty because they believe in what they're building. Purpose transforms effort into meaning. Purpose doesn't require fame, wealth, or recognition. Many of the most purposeful lives are quiet ones. Teachers shaping young minds, parents raising kind children, volunteers helping their communities. Purpose is simply living in alignment with what matters most to you. So if you feel like you haven't found your purpose yet, don't panic. You don't find purpose by waiting. You find it by participating in life, trying things, helping people, learning, growing, and gradually, through those experiences, your why becomes clearer. As Viktor Frankl reminded us, meaning is not something we invent out of thin air. It's something we discover through responsibility. So this week, ask yourself one simple question. What is one small way I can contribute something meaningful today? Because purpose isn't always one big mission. Sometimes it's simply choosing to make today matter. See you next week.